Okay, there are a few things that we are not going to talk about in this video. One, the gargantuan pile of clothes on my bed. It's just the way that life is. Two, my raggedy, horrific nails. I didn't have a panic attack, but I got pretty close, so I bit them all off. Three, I did buy a camera. It was about $90, and I'm still using my phone because I'm too scared to use it because I'm worried it's not going to work and then it's going to be a waste of money. So I would rather not use it, waste my money that way, but at least I can't confirm or deny whether or not it works. So I kind of just wanted to cruise on the inspiration train and do a continuation of the series. There was a common thread throughout my video. If you watched it, if you didn't, you totally should, because I worked really, really hard on it. But there was a common theme, a common thread through each and nearly every of the cartoons that I dissected and discussed, which was I was horny for pretty much every single character. Every single protagonist, I should say. So, you know, I kept it classy, followed the money. I thought it would be kind of fun to take the tier list videos that a lot of people have made that I enjoy watching, making it about cartoons, which, as we all know, I love cartoons. So that way I can just have even more enjoyment out of it without really considering whether you will enjoy it or not. Thought we would just go through my top 10. I had to rack my brain a little bit because once again, I'm recording on a Saturday, which is when I have a 9-hour shift. And I didn't go home right away because it was international or national or international. I don't know. I don't know if it's only in this country. Record Day. Which I didn't know, and that was pretty cool. So after, I went to my local record shop that also happens to be a comic book store, but I didn't get any comic books, I got records. Do you want to see? I don't care if you do or not. I got, oh, so bright. I got Claro's Immunity. This is the first Claro album that I own on vinyl. Ooh, and it's got a textured title. That's fun. Humans by Gorillas. I was on a hunt. I do take over the queue at my job, and lately I have been constantly putting on Humans. So I finally decided to just get the album because this album came out when I was a senior in high school, and I love it. And I love you. That was like the album that I went out on a mission to get, and I was a little worried that the store was going to be totally ransacked and potentially not get it, but obviously I got it. This one's kind of a bit of a double feature, if you will. I've been listening to a little bit of The Strokes, and I have listened to them very casually over the years, but I wanted to sort of get farther into it. So I got Angles, and I got, oh my god, sorry, remember the ring light? That's still a thing. The New Abnormal. The Adults Are Talking is one of my favorite songs, and it's been really great for a rainy spring. So looking forward to expanding on my Strokes education, the band, not the brain problem. Obviously, I got this. I feel like I don't need to explain myself. This album is practically perfect. And then the grand finale. Nirvana. By Nirvana. Could you imagine if I was like, I got Nirvana by Kelly Clarkson? Hey, 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 hey! That would definitely not be what you were expecting. The reason why I got this one is because it has In Bloom on it, and In Bloom is my favorite Nirvana song, and so I'm excited to hear it. That's my little show and tell to share with fucking 47 of you. So anyway, without further ado, these are some of the top 10 childhood crushes that I had as a tot. Let's go over the tier list. Okay, I have my handy laptop in front of me. So, without spoiling, we're going over the hierarchy, the levels that each character is going to have to climb to become my bachelor, my ultimate Mr. Right. I don't really know. Didn't lose sleep. This is essentially that I thought this character was attractive. Oh my god, by the way, we're basing this off of opinions that I had when I was like 5 or 6. I'm not judging how attractive these teenaged characters are as a 23-year-old adult. Disclaimer, obviously. Anyway, if I speak in present tense, it's completely coincidental. Didn't lose sleep. This is basically, I thought that this character was attractive, but I didn't really think about them all that much. I enjoyed watching them when I was watching the particular show, but in terms of after, I wasn't really thinking about this character, apart from when I was watching them. Hello There. Hello There is a continuation from that. I thought that the character was attractive when I was watching the show, and I might have had a cheeky little daydream about them when, they weren't on the screen of my parents' family room. But, I wasn't really, I moved on. I dried my tears, put on a really cute outfit, and I strutted down the driveway to get on the bus to go to kindergarten. Wowee, Scooby-Doo. Basically, I loved you. I cherished you. I daydreamed about you frequently. Definitely wanted to have dreams about you. You were impactful, and you did a very good job making a 5-year-old horny. You're going in the diary. Now we're getting to we're veering on to obsessive. We're perhaps, dare I say, writing about them in the diary. Definitely writing about them in the diary. We're hoping that if we write about them in the diary enough, when we go to sleep at night, we'll dream about them. Made me religious. Now, before everyone gets upset, I do not believe in God. However, as a child, I loved this character so much that on more than one occasion, I would pray to God before I fell asleep that he would take my soul out of this reality, turn me into a very attractive cartoon that could fit into the animation style of the particular show I was watching, and allow me to be able to romance, woo, and eventually kiss this particular protagonist. It was enough to nearly cause emotional destruction throughout. And it's definitely, you have to be pretty impactful to make a 5-year-old pray to God to leave her earthly reality. Let's dive into the rankings. Okay, going in the order that I think will curate the most suspense, we're gonna go with Robin from Teen Titans. This is a rather semi-popular one. I find that many young lady, and I'm sure men, have loved Robin, adored Robin. Frankly, what's not to like? He's heroic. He's got way too many issues to have a proper functioning relationship. And he knows Kung Fu, so you could walk around New York feeling totally safe. I'm going to possibly say something that's going to upset maybe a few of you. Robin is going in, didn't lose sleep. I just didn't really think about him very often, except when his hair was wet. I liked his fringe. And then once he shaggy dog shook it back into that spiky mohawk, I just didn't really think about him all that much. So sorry, but more for you. Okay, next fella, Peter Parker, specifically from Spider-Man the New Animated Series, also voiced by our Lord and Savior, I was about to say Neil deGrasse Tyson. I wish. Runner up to our Lord and Savior, Neil Patrick Harris. Possibly the polar opposite of Neil deGrasse Tyson. The new animated series was like MTV's telling of Spider-Man. So it was like supposed to be like edgier, more adult animation, curated to teens. However, somehow my parents gave me an iPod Nano for Christmas one year. They were somehow able to find like a condensed, clean version of the episodes. So the episodes that I watched of this series were like 10 minutes long. Peter Parker was a cutie, and it did not go unnoticed. I'm gonna put Peter Parker in Hello There. Definitely thought about him, had some little daydreams about him, but in terms of like, you know, the borderline stalker behavior that I accumulated for some of these characters, Peter Parker was ultimately spared in that respect. So he gets to live to see another day. Next victim. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Pretty much all of these are exclusively children. But so was I. Harping back to a sweet little slice of nostalgia from the last video I made, Major Tom. He was quirky, he was awkward, and he also was special enough to get accepted into this magical world where a video game comes to life. I thought he was a sweet little fella. Major Tom's going in Hello There. He looks good there, doesn't he? I definitely tried to envision myself like older, because again, to reiterate, I was 5 when I was having these sinful fantasies about these young men. Also, the sinful fantasies were just like I wanted to kiss them and hold their hand, because I was 5. But yes, I envisioned myself as an older, schmexy character where I could be in a relationship with Major Tom. But it didn't really progress to be too much more obsessive than that. I think I was far more charmed, honestly, by the concept that the show had, rather than how hot Major Tom was. Thank God, a shred of hope that I was allured by substance rather than sin. Definitely lost a little bit of sleep over him, but not enough to have him call the police on a toddler. I have to go to sleep. I am so tired. I might look a little bit uglier the next time I pick up with this video, but I can barely keep my eyes open. What time is it, you may ask? 8:54 in the evening. Hello! I know that it is 4 days later from recording, but you don't know that. I realize that the situation with the laundry has only gotten worse, which is why I'm tentative to admit that it's been 4 days later. But listen, that's just what happens when you have clinical depression and all you do is sleep and watch Nicole Raffi videos. I'm finna be in the pit emotionally. But you can't be mad at me because I am still continuing to make content, even though I got curved yesterday by someone I've had a crush on for almost a year. What better way to alleviate that than go over people who I could never attain? I have an interview in about 3 hours. Let's make sure they don't ever find out about this. First off, I think we should just take a moment to admire how I did save this chart on my browser. I very easily could have X'd out of it, and I decided not to. Also, I keep sitting like this, and that's problematic. Peter Pan. I know that this is going to be problematic for a whole assortment of reasons. And no, I'm not just talking about the horrific representation of Native Americans. I'm talking about the fact that Peter Pan is a boy who never ages. So I feel a little tentative to talk about him as an adult. However, he had so much significance on my young child developmental life. Apart from Peter Pan being a very foundational story in my childhood, I absolutely loved the concept. It was like one of the first core stories that made me fall in love with fairy tales, want to become a storyteller myself, which is why I ended up getting a Peter Pan tattoo on my ankle. It's all of them though. It's all of them. No free feet. You see? Again, because it's an important story and I loved Peter Pan. But I also loved Peter Pan. I don't know what it is necessarily. Actually, why, yes, I do. I literally, when I was 16, wrote a poem about, oh God, my ideal boy, like, at the time being Peter Pan. I don't know if it's the fact that, like, he just, like, takes initiative and like sweeps this girl, Wendy, that whore, off to Neverland, shows her mermaids because he knows that she loves them. There was just a lot of courtship, even though it was innocent childhood friendship. There was a lot of courtship in the film with Wendy that I appreciated, that I desired as a tot. I wanted someone who flies to come into my bedroom window, teach me how to fly, and then take me to see mermaids. I kind of wouldn't be opposed to having a date like that now with a consenting adult. So as a result of just the cultural I shouldn't say cultural, because cultural, they totally shit the bed on that one. Storytelling significance that Peter Pan and Peter Pan had in my little 3-year-old life is putting him in Made Me Religious. I very, very vividly remember praying to God every night that Peter Pan was real, that he would find me, make me hot, make me a cartoon version of myself, and we would go to Neverland and we would live happily ever after. I loved this boy when I was a girl. Alrighty, Aphrodite, moving swiftly along, we are going to introduce or reintroduce ourselves to a familiar face, Martin Mystery. I don't say this lightly. I am not really that attracted to blondes. It's definitely because the majority of the boys in my family are blonde. However, there are very few exceptions to this rule, but there are exceptions to this rule. And one of those exceptions was Martin Mystery, though not without his controversies. I think the few reasons that I deeply, deeply, deeply was in love with him was, one, I loved his job. The paranormal investigation, just super cool. I mean, we all know how Martin Mystery affected my life. I don't need to harp on it. There is a bug. Go away. So I'm not going to harp on that too much. If you want it, go watch my last video, please and thank you. But I think it was just the fact that he was goofy. I appreciated the confidence, the swagger. And I remember being very confused as to why he did so poorly with girls, but that fueled my hope that there would be a chance for me. He also was heroic. He saved lives when times were tough and tense. He got right to the chase and succeeded every time. And with consistency, I mean, that's something that we don't really get in our world currently. So sweet, sweet Martin is going to, you're going in the diary. I very much wrote about how much I loved him. I was not afraid to show it. It was obsessive. I did daydream about being an animated character, but unfortunately, every time I tried to, like, imagine myself as a plausible character in the story, in the terms of like making my appearance as realistic of me as it could be in the cartoon, I kept picturing Diana. So I don't think that's a coincidence. The reason why he's not going in Made Me Religious is because he was blonde. Sorry. Contrary to my British roots, I really don't do incest, so. And neither do Martin and Diana, even though they're step-siblings. Okay, next we have Aladar from the movie Dinosaur. I have no defense for this. I am chalking up solely the reason why I was in love with this dinosaur is because of DB Sweeney's fucking charismatic voice. He was carefree, he had suave, all right. I think maybe I was more in love with DB Sweeney than Aladar. Dinosaur, the Disney movie that came out in 2001, was the first PG movie I ever saw in my lifetime. And I saw it as a reward for pooping in the toilet. That's how my mom got us to be potty trained. Bribery was key. And it worked. The second I dropped a little turd into the toilet, my mom pulled out Dinosaur on DVD. And I was absolutely thrilled. I loved the adventure. I loved the peril. But Aladar was the love of my life. I am going to try and defend myself ever so slightly by saying, you know, CGI, the dinosaurs talked. They had human aspects to them. In animation, they don't animate the faces until after they've recorded the voice actors. I watched a very interesting making of The Lion King from 1994 that like broke down how that works. I'm blaming it on the human-like characteristics. I think I was attracted to DB Sweeney and I didn't even know it, which I think is going to be the title of my autobiography. Anyway, things that I stated prior. Sympathetic story, outcast, lost family, loves his adoptive family. Oh my god. I hate hairlines. I'm gonna put Aladar in... I don't know. I thought about Aladar a lot. I literally thought about him in preschool every day. After I saw this movie, I would, on the playground during recess, running laps around like the whole playground set and being like, "Run, Aladar, run! Run, Aladar, run! I thought that scene was so epic even then, and I don't know, I think watching Aladar run was hot. I don't know, I can't explain it. It's the same reason like people are attracted to like Sporticus and Teenage Simba. It is such a chemical reaction, I can't even properly verbalize why I was into a dinosaur. I think I'm gonna put him in Wowie Scooby-Doo. Did I picture myself as a female dinosaur, mouth kissing another dinosaur? I plead the fifth. I did think about him quite a bit. I was very much in love with him. He was a heroic dude, all right? So, yeah, great story. Everyone should watch it. Fun little fact, my sister had her boyfriend watch this because this was such a big movie in our childhood and he had never seen it. And he fucking loved it and said it was really intense. He said it was great, and he's a 22-year-old gentleman. So if a grown-ass man likes it, that's not a good convincer. Next. I'm not too sure how many people will remember this, just out of sheer curiosity, because this wasn't even a show that I watched all that often. But added to the crush tier, Cody from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fast Forward. That's a mouthful. I don't know that much about Fast Forward. I know that the turtles travel to the future, and I know that Cody is like, I think the son of like two of the main human characters. I'm so sorry, I don't know the lore of TNMT. I didn't watch it very often, but I hear wonderful things, and when I did watch it, I did genuinely really like it, so I might have to dive into that one a little bit more. I liked Cody's voice. I liked Cody. I liked his little outfit. I liked his floppy hair. I thought it was a lot of fun. I do remember literally like racking my brain to design a character to smooch him when I was like 5 or 6. So I'm gonna put Cody in Hello There. I was debating putting him in Wowie Scooby-Doo because I definitely thought about him more than Major Tom and Peter Parker, but not nearly as much as Aladar. Woo-wee, guys! Getting down to the wire, down to the top 3. Where will they go? Who are they? We just don't know. Prince Eric from Barbie and the Nutcracker. As the Nutcracker. I know what you guys are probably thinking. Ellie, why not Prince Eric in his human form? He's like more closely resembles like a fucking human. And I won't tell you why, because I don't need to. I loved Prince Eric. What a great comeback story. Arrogant prince turned cursed wooden man back to not arrogant prince. Ugh. I also think this was the birth of my absolute love for mustaches, because holy shit, look at that fullness. That is a facial structure that no amount of voluminizing spray will ever buy. No amount of leaf grower will ever get you to the stash that wooden Prince Eric had, and I stand by that. I am going to put Prince Eric in Wowie Scooby-Doo. I pictured myself with him as like a little animated Barbie lady, not a blonde one though, because roots. I would crack his nuts. Sorry. Okay, guys. Final countdown. Who's it gonna be? Artha Pendragon. Artha, oh my god. Artha Penn. Not Arthur Pendragon, okay? He has nothing to do with this storyline. I loved this guy. I literally was so obsessively imagined a female version of like myself in the series. I knew what color my suit was. I knew what kind of dragon that I had. It was like a little like four-legged velociraptor looking fella, and we had a great relationship. Oh, I think I'm gonna get a bevy really quick. Oop. Don't look at my butt. Yes, I do have a mini fridge, and yes, it is worth the money. Did just brush my teeth, but oh well. Artha is going to go in. You're going in the diary. He's not going into Made Me Religious because I just don't think I pictured him quite as much as Peter Pan, which I wish weren't true. Artha's in You're Going in the Diary. Pretty obsessed. Definitely thought a lot about like my character presence if I were to exist in the show. So that's the tea on that. That's the probiotic soda beverage on that. Last but certainly the most is our good friend Fred Jones. Oh, I loved this boy so much. The amount of times I envisioned myself as a part of the gang in a delectable sunshine yellow 60s inspired fit. The amount of times I asked my mother if Fred Jones was real and she told me no, and I cried about it. The amount of times I had that like leap pad like book thing where it taught you how to read, and I had a Scooby-Doo book and I tapped on each member of the gang, and I tapped on Fred and he'd go, Fred, and I would tap it over and over again. Fred, Fred, Fred. Fred. I was simply in love with this man. I don't know why. Like I said, exception to the rule of not being attracted to blondes. I say to this day, unless you have the personality and fashion style of Fred Jones, I don't want to hear from you. I am putting him in Made Me Religious. He was chef's kiss. Oh, and Mystery Incorporated, the 2013 series, did him such a service by making him such an idiot, but such a beautiful, kind soul. They really knocked it out of the park with his character development there. Because I get it, he is kind of adult, to say the very least, but God, what a lovable little fella. Funny story, I was a senior in college. I was spending the night at my boyfriend at the time's apartment. I had smoked just a twinge of the devil's lettuce, never again, and I was watching Scooby-Doo that night to calm myself down because, again, I can't smoke the devil's lettuce because I will convince myself I'm having a heart attack or going into cardiac arrest and that I will die. As I calmed down and as I was falling asleep, I remember confessing to my then boyfriend how much I was in love with Fred Jones. For all of the reasons that I listed prior, don't even get me started on Freddie Prinze Jr. And then I promptly fell asleep while I was expressing my love to my then boyfriend about another man and another cartoon man. Then, flash forward just a few hours later, I am dead asleep, having yet the most vivid dream in the world. I'm having a dream at 21 years old that I am a member of the Scooby Gang, and Shaggy, Scooby, and I got ourselves into a little bit of a situation, not a weird one. I think a monster was chasing us, and we basically like accidentally ran over the edge of a cliff and we're like holding on to a vine. And I'm holding onto the vine, and Shaggy and Scooby are hanging onto each one of my legs. However, for those of you who know Scooby-Doo, you know that the Mystery Machine is tricked out with a bunch of, like, emergency landing services. Basically, in the dream, see in the ground that Fred is standing right by the Mystery Machine and looking at us. And is like, oh fuck, they're gonna fall. So, to get Fred's attention and basically, like, snap him into action so he can get the Mystery Machine, drive it under us, and blow up that, like, inflatable mattress thing that I know the Mystery Machine has, and the three of us will fall onto it, I scream, Fred! I screamed it in that tone into my then-boyfriend's ear, and I woke him up. And there was no way that he didn't know I was dreaming about Fred Jones. And there was no way I could explain that the dream was the most pure and nostalgic, like, scene of peril, without him thinking that I was literally having a dream, having sex with Fred Jones as a full-ass grown woman in his bed next to him. So that is my, I was about to say celebrity crush tier list. They basically were. Cartoon crush tier list from when I was a sweet, sweet little tot. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, show me how much by leaving a like and a comment. Tell me a little bit about what your childhood crushes were. Who were they? Why? Was it because of their wet hair, or was it because of their heroism? I want to know. Once again, this video was very, very fun to make. I enjoyed having a little chuckle alone in my room drinking a probiotic soda that won't stop making me burp. And the next time I see you, my depression will hopefully be a little bit better and this bed will be made. I promise. I'm really enjoying this little journey, and if you are too, feel free to subscribe. Thanks! Bye!